Let me know if you can hear me properly, if you can see me properly, especially on YouTube. I'm gonna go live, and what you can see now is what you were expecting. Hi Frenchie, hi Ali. Ali, thank you for confirming. Lydia, hi. Hi Nina. Terry, thank you so much. Terry on YouTube has told me that everything is working and looking and sounding great. Hi Mary. Hi Donovan. How is everyone today? Let's say a big hello to everybody joining from all over the world. Let me know where you're joining from. I'm gonna give people a couple of minutes to tune in to see and hear the notification from YouTube and Instagram, just so that they know that I am live. Hi Ivana from Malta. Hi Nemanja. Hi Mary. Hi Muhammad from Iran. Lovely. Georgie from Romania. Hello. Leo from Sweden. We've got Krill from Sweden. Lydia, of course I'm gonna give you tips. I love talking about love. I also love talking about karma, so we are all about the tips here today. Lydia, you're in London just like I am. Thank you for tuning in. Hi Carla from Austin. Trildy from Manchester. Susan in Dublin. Hello Rasmus from New York. Deepika from India, my new subscriber. Hello Rama from Paris. Hi Mary from Seattle, Washington. Frenchie, England. Nina, I know you're in Lebanon. I've seen it in your photos. I love it. Your photos look insane. Hi Bluebird from Michigan. Hello Inga from Latvia. Oscar Woods from Detroit. Toe from Singapore. Thank you for tuning in. Notori from New Orleans. We've got Ezekiel from Buenos Aires. Saran from Turkey. Hi. I know I always take a few minutes to just say hello to people because I find it incredible that people from all over the place tune in for my live streams, and I just want to show the appreciation for you guys. It's always very humbling, sincerely. Hi Ilaria. Hi. Hello Leah from Slovenia. Hello Addison from Oklahoma. Yes, I'm going to talk about Venus square Mars. I'm going to talk about a lot of things today. Veronica, yes, we literally just started. Christia, yes, a Swedish nickname for your name. Oh, thank you so much, Frenchie. Thank you. Hello, Sophia from Trinidad. Yeah, we literally just started. Greetings to you too, Deep Tangash from India. Hilary Duff. Hilary Duff is with us. Dabbing from Brixton. Hi. Dabbing back at you from London. North London, to be more precise. Hi, Ross from Richmond upon Thames, UK. Very close to where I live. Okay, so people, thank you for tuning in today. Let's start talking about one of my favorite topics in the world. I could spend days, I could spend weeks talking about love and relationships and karma. Have you ever wondered why you keep on attracting the same type of people in your life, or why history seems to be repeating itself? What is the lesson that the universe is trying to teach you when it comes to romance and relationships, and why sometimes relationships seem to be such a drag? And all the whys, well, most of the whys, I'm hoping I'm going to be able to answer them for you today when we're going to be talking about your Venus placement to an extent, but more so the specific Venus placements and aspects that may carry karmic messages with them. And FYI, not all Venus placements have something to do with karma. So we're going to focus today on the karmic placements and aspects, because in my view, those are probably they're usually the hardest ones to tackle. They're usually the hardest ones to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And you might feel like you have little say in what unfolds in your love life and in your relationships. Especially when we've got these type of like karmic weights that you're carrying about in your relationships. So without further ado, let us jump straight in. Now, first and foremost, I want to recommend you a really good book. Let me just start off by saying that one of my favorite books for you to read about karmic placements, and for me to read about karmic placements, is Patterns of the Past by Judy Hall. I also recommend, if you're interested in learning about karmic astrology and evolutionary astrology and all the links, or most of the links, between your natal chart and your karmic baggage, I recommend Stephen Arroyo's books more specifically. Now, in astrology, it so happens that most Venus aspects in the natal chart to outer planets usually carry karmic messages. Now, what are the outer planets? We look at Saturn, we look at Uranus, we look at Neptune, we look at Pluto, and even though it's not a planet, but it's still kind of in outer space, we also look at Chiron. We're also going to be talking about specific Venus placements that can manifest as if you had an aspect between Venus and one of these planets. So we're going to talk about Venus in Taurus and Libra. We're going to talk about Venus in Aquarius and Capricorn. We're also going to talk about Venus in Pisces and Venus in Scorpio. So let me dive straight in, and then you can ask your Venus-related questions. Now, if you don't know what sign and what aspects Venus in your natal chart has, I recommend that you go to literally any online natal chart generator. I use alabe.com/free chart, but you can also go on astro.com to generate your free natal chart. All you need to do is put in your date, time, and place of birth, and voila. And in the circle, in the natal chart that comes up, you have to look for the symbol of Venus, which is very familiar to literally everyone because it's a circle with a with a cross at the bottom. So it's the symbol that we all know and we've seen in our lives. Now let's talk about aspects between Venus and Chiron in your natal chart, if you've got this. And what I'm about to talk you through also applies to a lesser extent, but it still applies to having Chiron in Taurus, having Venus in Taurus, or having Venus in Libra. Now, the karmic message that is usually carried by these placements and by these aspects between Chiron and Venus tends to say that love hurts. So from a previous lifetime or from like multiple past incarnations, you've had to deal with rejection, you've had to deal with abandonment, you've had to deal with loss, abuse, and it's fair to say that you've probably become warier of relationships. Now, this is much more prominent in your life if you have a tense aspect between Chiron and Venus. So, for instance, if you've got Chiron opposing Venus in your chart, or if you've got Venus squaring Chiron in your chart, or if, let's say, you've got a Venus in Libra or in Taurus, aspected by Chiron, especially in an opposition or in a square. It's fair to say that you've become wary of relationships because of a lot of hurt that you've had to deal with in previous lives, most likely. And usually people with these placements might start hurting others when they are in relationships before they are the ones that are hurt. So because you're expecting to be hurt, your subconscious is expecting to be hurt in a relationship, you might try to like beat them to it and inflict emotional pain onto others before they have the chance to inflict emotional pain onto you. Now, how can you heal this? Because ultimately, we want to get out of the toxic cycle and circle, and we want to and reads past the pain that you are inflicting upon yourself and them. FYI, I'm not saying that you should inflict pain upon anyone. I'm just saying that you will probably be healed once you realize that there are people willing to stick it out and to stand by you despite your wariness of and your fear of relationships. Now, if you have Venus aspecting Saturn in your natal chart, and I'm not just talking about the tense aspect, so I'm not just talking about Venus opposing Saturn or Venus squaring Saturn, I'm also talking about conjunctions here. So a Saturn-Venus conjunction. I'm also talking about a Saturn-Venus trine or sextile, which are usually considered to be easier aspects. But any aspect between these planets is most likely going to result in some sort of subconscious message that you carry with you, a subconscious pattern that you carry with you that says, I do not deserve to be loved fully. I feel unworthy of love. This type of pattern also might be carried by someone who has their Venus in Capricorn or who has their Venus in Aquarius. You might carry the message from previous lifetimes that you are somehow unworthy of love, that you've done wrong and you've made mistakes, and now you deserve to be punished for them, and you deserve to feel guilty, and you do not deserve to feel love fully. In previous lifetimes, relationships may have been based on some sort of exchange. So you give something to the person in the relationship that you are in with them, such as your time or your affection, and they take care of you. So relationships in previous incarnations might have had a transactional kind of air to them, let's say. It's also very possible that in a past life you've acted poorly in love, and you have you've done wrong by people that you were in a relationship with, and now your subconscious thinks, you know what, I deserve to be punished in this lifetime. You might even reject love before you get rejected. Leaving aside the guilt, it's also very possible if you've got any aspects between Venus and Saturn, or if you've got Venus in Capricorn or in Aquarius, you are carrying from previous lifetimes a vow of chastity. So if you carry that with you in this lifetime, obviously you're not going to be able to enjoy love to the fullest, and you're not going to be able to embrace love to the fullest and accept it in your life and give it your all. So that's also something karmic that you might carry from a past lifetime. The solution, obviously, is to somehow rescind the vow and to cut the cord with the previous karmic contract that you may have entered. Speaking of karmic contracts, Venus aspecting Saturn, or Venus in Capricorn, or Venus in Aquarius, may have made a promise in a past lifetime to be faithful to one person and one person only. And if in this lifetime you've incarnated and it's not part of your evolutionary journey to meet up with that person again, then whoever you enter a relationship with, you might be like, you know what, no, I've made a promise to be loyal to someone else. So you might actually self-sabotage your relationship. How do you heal all of this karmic kind of baggage that Venus aspecting Saturn might bring in your life? First and foremost, I know this is going to sound like such a cliche, but you have to convince your subconscious and have to do work on yourself in order to convince yourself that you are worthy of love and you do not deserve to be punished. And you deserve to enjoy love, and you deserve to be loved fully. So, I know, such a stereotype, such a cliche, but love starts with loving yourself. If you do that, then deep commitment will probably result from all of this. So, I actually, I've actually seen this play out in the charts of some of my previous clients. It's possible that Venus aspecting your Saturn in your natal chart in this lifetime, or Venus in Capricorn or Venus in Aquarius, manifests in your life, such as you falling for someone who is unobtainable, or someone who is very cold, because Saturn is cold. Saturn like withholds affection. So you might actually fall for people who don't have that much affection to give, or are unwilling to give their affection. Now, also with this placement, with Venus aspecting Saturn, you might build a wall around yourself to protect yourself from being hurt. Nobody can break that wall, and then you cry yourself to sleep because no one can climb that wall or break it. So it's kind of like it goes both ways. You might also relate to the idea that in a relationship, someone does the loving and the other person is the object of love. So this also tends to play out in someone's chart who has Venus aspecting Saturn. Venus is also our values, okay? So Venus is not just how we are in relationships and how we play out in relationships, and it's not just the planet of love, it's also the planet of what we value, what we consider valuable in this lifetime. And with Venus aspecting Saturn in your chart, you might severely undervalue yourself. This is also valid for Venus in Capricorn or Venus in Aquarius. This might also manifest as you undercharging for your work, or requesting less than you should request for the services that you provide to society, because you think you're not worth that much. And last but not least, if you do indeed have Venus aspecting Saturn in your chart, relationships might actually work a lot better for you after the initial attraction and illusion wears off. Because let's not forget, Saturn is father time, and Saturn tends to give rewards to us after we stick it out. So after we spend more time dedicating and committing ourselves to something. If you've got Venus aspecting Saturn, I'm not gonna lie, relationships are gonna require a lot of work. But if you do put in the work, if you also put in the work when it comes to yourself, because first and foremost, you have to learn to love yourself and value yourself in order for the world to appreciate and value you, you're gonna be rewarded big time, and you can break the cycle, the karmic cycle in this lifetime. Now, Venus aspecting Saturn is also associated in terms of beauty and aesthetics, because let's not forget, Venus is the planet of beauty and aesthetics. It's also associated with a very studied look, the look of beauty queens. Fun fact. Now, if you have Venus aspecting Uranus in your natal chart, oh my days. The karmic message that you carry from previous lifetimes is, I don't need love. You know what? Love is not for me. I don't need it. I'm just fine. My freedom is more important than this whole love and relationship thing. And you might actually require, in whatever relationship you do enter, a lot of freedom and liberty and to maintain your independence. And you'd probably choose independence over relationships any day, any time of the week, if you had to choose between the two. Venus aspecting Uranus in your chart, and it doesn't matter if it's a square, if it's a conjunction, if it's a trine, if it's an opposition. Venus aspecting Uranus tends to manifest as deep commitment issues. In a previous lifetime, you may have well been celibate and you've done pretty well for yourself on your own. It's also possible that in your head and in your subconscious, you're somehow splitting sex from love. Venus aspecting Uranus might also result in this lifetime in ambivalence around sexuality and gender. And the karmic lesson for you in this lifetime is learning a different approach to sexuality, learning to deal with a sexuality that is unconventional. People who have Venus aspecting Uranus in especially in like the tense aspects, in the opposition, in the square, maybe even the quincunx, might even feel like they've incarnated in the wrong body. Learning intimacy is a process of many lifetimes if you've got Venus aspecting Uranus. However, despite the whole karma drama and despite the deep commitment issues that, spoiler alert, you do have to work through in this lifetime, Venus aspecting Uranus has a very electric quality about them. So you probably attract other people like moths to the flame. And people can't help but being like magnetically drawn to you, which is pretty great if you ask me. Venus aspecting Uranus in this lifetime might also result in some very unconventional relationships that have to be integrated with the need for space and independence. Last but not least, Venus aspecting Uranus tends to fall suddenly in love and suddenly out of love, and it just happens like this all of a sudden. Last but not least, your choice of partner might be an act of rebellion against the family, rebellion against society's expectations, especially when it comes to like relationships. So you do you, Venus aspecting Uranus, but commitment is worth it, and relationships are worth it. And somehow you'll have to find alternative ways in this lifetime to sort out the karmic drama and find a balance between maintaining your independence but also making a commitment to someone else. Now, if you have Venus in Pisces, I've got Venus in Pisces, my people. Or if you have any sort of aspect between Venus and Neptune in your chart. So Venus square Neptune, Venus conjunct Neptune, Venus opposing Neptune, sextile, trine, any aspect. What is the karmic message that you carry with you? Well, these aspects make you want to search for the ideal love. Venus in Pisces, or Venus aspecting Neptune, is love without limits, love unconditionally, love everyone and anything, and just all of it. You come into this lifetime ready to practice unconditional love, I have to say. And this is something that if you find it hard to do, that Venus aspecting Neptune wants to teach you to love unconditionally despite the flaws of others. Now, if we're gonna get deep into like relationship stuff here, Venus aspecting Neptune or Venus in Gemini might also have to deal with the dichotomy between being sexual and spiritual at the same time. How can you be both? I don't know. You tell me, Venus aspecting Neptune people out there, or Venus in Pisces people. If you have any of these aspects between Neptune and Venus, you might also go through a lot of clandestine relationships in this lifetime. And you associate love with a mystical experience. Love is a fantasy. That's why Venus in Pisces people or Venus aspecting Neptune people are usually very good at seducing others. Now, the main issue for these people is usually the following. How can you establish a relationship based on equality and one that is grounded in the day-to-day? Because when you associate love with this like mystical experience and you idealize the whole idea of love, no one can actually live up to that ideal, and you tend to be very disappointed in love, and it's almost like you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So how can you practice this unconditional love for others whilst at the same time being very grounded in your relationship and not expecting the other person to be perfect and not expecting the other person to be like this god that you worship, and then when they prove to you that they're actually human, you're like, oh no, they're human. Why? Get over it, Venus in Pisces and Neptune Venus people. People with these aspects usually fall in love with the idea of beauty, and society might also project onto them certain like images that are associated with beauty and love. And Venus in Pisces people, or Venus aspecting Neptune people, usually have this like glamorous appearance about them, which is all a fantasy. It's not who they are on a day-to-day basis. Now, this one is like the tough one, okay? So if you have Venus in Scorpio, or if you have any sort of aspects between your Venus and Pluto, it doesn't matter the type of aspects. It can be a sextile, it can be a square, it can be an opposition, it can be a conjunction. Venus aspecting Pluto. What do these aspects in your chart say? Or Venus and Scorpio, because this also applies to you people. The karmic message that you carry with you from previous incarnations, from previous lifetimes, is that there's never enough love. No matter how much love you get, there is simply never enough love. You might also bring from previous lifetimes an expectation of trauma in regards to love and in regards to relationships. Past life relationships might have been very demanding, or especially with the more challenging aspects such as the conjunction, the square, and the opposition, past life relationships might have been predatory or very symbiotic. You come into this lifetime with a deep need for emotional closeness. And this emotional closeness might result in you falling into this sort of like emotional black hole when it comes to relationships. This can result, FYI, Venus and Scorpio people, or Venus aspecting Pluto people, this is very likely going to result in jealousy and possessiveness. And it's also possible that in previous lives, you've used your sex appeal and your attractiveness to gain some sort of like power over others and to manipulate others into doing things. How do you heal these apparently karmically doomed aspects? They're not doomed, no. You've got like so much love to give, Venus aspecting Pluto people and Venus in Scorpio. How do you heal past life trauma and past life expectation in terms of what you should be receiving from the people that you're in a relationship with? Attune yourself to divine love, to transcendental love, and fill up this deep need of love and validation with love that comes from within you and from the universe. Because no human, I repeat, no human, Venus and Scorpio people, is able to provide love at the intensity and volume and capacity that you need. So you're going to have to find that someplace else, because people are just like either going to run away or they're going to be completely sucked in and they're going to feel powerless in the relationship. And you're going to feel like, no, this is not what I need. This is not intense enough. Venus-Pluto conjunction people, or oppositions or square, might have also experienced in past lives a loved one dying. So the person that they were married with or the person that they were in a committed relationship with might have died quite suddenly. This might result in this lifetime in very addictive and codependent relationships. Now, how can you heal yourself? I'm not saying it's easy, but you're going to heal yourself and you're going to heal past life trauma by giving love without expectation, by giving love for the sake of giving it, because you've got so much of it. Seriously. Venus and Scorpio people, or Venus aspecting Pluto people, are the type of people who might say something like, if you love me, you will die for me. And I will do the same in turn, but it's like love and death are pretty much on the same level. It's also possible, if you've got this placement, that in this lifetime you might want to test your sex appeal on others, and also test the power of your affection and of what you can give in a relationship over others, and see how you can manipulate them. Abuse in relationships is also quite commonplace, especially with the more challenging aspects, such as the conjunction between Venus and Pluto, or the square or the opposition between Venus and Pluto. And you come in this lifetime with the knowledge of power and sex, and the power of sex very, very early on. And you might not necessarily associate power, sex with love. Now, another way to heal past life trauma, if you do have Venus in Scorpio or Venus aspecting Pluto, is to learn to let go of others and to see if they still love you, to give them enough space, and again, to love them without any sort of expectation, and see what happens. And yes, you might go through some very intense, toxic relationships when you feel like you're gonna die if the other person leaves you, or if the relationship ends, and then it ends and you see that you haven't died, and you come out of it stronger and more empowered. But don't come out of it paranoid. And do not misjudge others based on the behavior of a previous lover or a previous partner, because that's also something that Venus aspecting Pluto or Venus in Scorpio people tend to do. They can become very paranoid and very skeptical in regards to relationships. Now let's take some questions, my lovely people. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. What do we have here? We've talked about a lot of Venus aspecting Saturn. I can see a lot of people have talked about this, have asked about this. Venus sextile Neptune. We've also talked about this one. I talked about Venus in Libra. Let's see. Venus sextile Uranus and Neptune. Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So usually the easier aspects, the sextile, the trine, you might find it easier to deal with this sort of like karmic paradigms that you bring in from a previous lifetime. So you've learned something, and this is a lifetime for you to apply those learnings. So you find it easier to apply the learnings about unconditional love. If you've got Venus aspecting Neptune, you might find it easier to apply the learning of being in a relationship and also carving out some like private space and some independence and liberty and sticking to your individuality if you've got Venus sextile Uranus. Let's see, what else? A lot of Venus square Saturn here. Venus sextile Neptune, really nice. What else do we have? Venus conjunct Mars. Okay, so this is Venus conjunct Mars, and Venus-Mars aspects are not necessarily karmic in their nature, because both planets are personal planets. Both Mars and Venus are personal planets, and when we have a conjunction between the two, usually the person finds it very easy to fight for what they love. And there's also this sort of like impatience around love and relationships. So Venus conjunct Mars are the type of people who might jump into a relationship and act upon impulse when they have feelings for someone, and they don't find it hard at all to express their feelings for someone. And it's something, love and relationships are a part of their life that really drives them and motivates them to move forward. What else do we have? Venus in Aquarius in the 5th house, and my individuality, and how am I going to make that work? So this usually makes for quite unconventional and freedom-seeking relationships, and relationships in which the partners give each other a lot of space, give each other the opportunity to express their individuality and not lose it by merging into a couple. And also, Venus in Aquarius usually places a lot of emphasis on being friends and on really being able to relate on a friendship level with the person that they are in a relationship with. If they're not friends, and if they can't be friends, then the Venus and Aquarius person is not going to enter in a relationship with that person. Venus and Aquarius also usually selects their lovers from their circle of friends, I would say. What else do we have? Dun, 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 dun. A lot of Venus aspects here. Oh gosh, guys, thank you so much for commenting. I love it. I love that you're all sharing this. Okay, so Mandy says, my spouse has Venus aspecting Uranus and is transgender, so that's true about gender. Yes, so this is probably a lifetime in which the person might feel, in which your spouse, Mandy, might feel like they've incarnated in the wrong body, but this is a lifetime to learn a different side to sexuality and gender. There's no such thing as right or wrong when it comes to the natal chart. You're welcome, Ali. Mohammed has Venus in Pisces, sextile Uranus and Neptune. You're here to give us a lot of unconditional love, Mohammed. What else do we have? Andra, Venus opposed Pluto. We've talked a lot about Venus and Pluto. This is a lifetime to learn to give love without expectation, and also to deal with feelings of possessiveness, of jealousy, and to not have these like superhuman expectations in terms of affection from someone else, because there's literally like no human who is able to give love at the intensity that you are able to give it to. And you also are very much aware of the power that love and sex has over others. So be careful how you use it, Andra. Karma Police James is asking me, what is your Venus placement? So my Venus placement, James, is Venus in Pisces at the very top of my chart. It's right on the cusp between the 9th and the 10th house. Hi, Wei Ting. Thank you for joining. Venus conjunct Pluto, absolutely cyborg genus. This counts as an aspect. So it counts for everything that I've talked about, having to deal with the karma of possible abuse in a previous lifetime, of learning very early on about the power of sex and not necessarily associated with feelings of love. Past life relationships with like Venus conjunct Pluto might have been predatory and very addictive or codependent. Constantine, thank you for the super chat. Guys, if you want to support my channel, on YouTube in particular, you can show your support by giving me a super chat. There's like, I think, $1 icon at the bottom of the live chat on YouTube. And I'm going to give you a shout out, and I'm going to talk about your Venus aspects. Venus square Mars. So Georgie, as I said, this is not necessarily something karmic in itself, because both Venus and Mars are personal planets. They're not outer planets. But there might be, Georgie, I would say, there might be some tension between how you express love and what you expect in relationships, and also how you can assert your individuality. So there might be this feeling that when you are in a relationship, you have to hold back on fighting for what you really want to fight for. It is a very intense placement, Venus square Mars, and it can make for some, let's say, dramatic relationships with quite a bit of conflict, with quite a bit of drama. So yeah, that's Venus square Mars. Candace, Venus in Pisces, just like me. Oh gosh, I've talked about most of your aspects. Ethereal Vixen is asking about the progress Venus. Really good question. So this is actually like not the topic of today's live stream, but when we look in someone's like secondary progressions chart, and this is a technique that I use when I'm doing a yearly forecast for someone. So if you're interested in a yearly forecast, please feel free to reach out to me. I do look at the progress Venus to see where their heart is at. Maylat, Venus in Taurus. We've talked about this to start with. Dun, 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 dun. Venus in Virgo in the 9th house. Okay, Venus in Virgo, you people, I love you, but you show your love and appreciation for someone else by poking holes at whatever they do, and you can be very critical of the people that you love, and you probably think that you're doing them a favor, and you have very high standards from your lovers as well, and it can be very easily misinterpreted. So Venus in Virgo is not so much at home, I would say. It doesn't feel really well, Venus in Virgo. That's why my recommendation for anyone who's got Venus in Virgo is to dial down the criticism. Can you go over Venus in Libra again? Veracity. Yes, let's go over Venus in Libra once again. You might carry the karmic message of past life love that has hurt in some way, and you've had to deal with rejection, possibly abandonment, and you can be quite wary of relationships in this lifetime, and you might also hurt others before you are hurt. The way to heal this is to find someone who's going to be there for you no matter what happens. I do want to say that you're going to get a lot of love and a lot of joy out of relationships in this lifetime if you do have Venus in Libra, but be careful. Andra, thank you so much for the super chat. Mulțumesc, fellow Romanian. By the way, guys, FYI, I'm Romanian, so you can speak to me in Romanian as well, but I'm probably going to answer to you in English if I've got any Romanian followers right now. What if I have my Venus in Scorpio and it's retrograde and it's conjunct the North Node and square Mars? So if you've got Venus retrograde in your chart, FYI, people, Venus is retrograde in the sky right now. You might keep your feelings, and especially feelings of love, more to yourself. You might hold on to them, and you might dwell on them, and you might kind of like bury them very deep so that no one reaches them, Leah, because you might feel like if you do expose your feelings, you are very likely going to get hurt. If your Venus is conjunct the North Node, then it looks like your mission, your destiny in this lifetime is very much linked with the relationships that you enter. Venus in Gemini. Okay, so Venus in Gemini is one who shows their love and affection for others by chatting them up, by challenging them, and by engaging them in Venus conjunct MC in Cancer. Oh my days. If you've got Venus conjunct your MC, the MC is the midheaven, and it's the ruler of your professional pathway in this lifetime. First and foremost, you're probably going to have a really good time, and you're going to be quite appreciated by bosses and people in authority in this lifetime, and you're going to get along very well with them. You're generally appreciated by the world, and whatever you do and however you come up in the world, you're liked and loved, and people want to be around you. You're very magnetic. Now, Venus in Cancer tends to be very broody in relationships, and also place a lot of emphasis on security in relationships and on loyalty in relationships. Venus in Leo. Venus in Leo feels very much at home, and Josephine, if you've got Venus in Leo, and everyone else who's got Venus in Leo, tends to be quite dramatic, but in a good way in relationships. Well, in a good way, I mean, it depends on the aspects to Venus, but you're not afraid of like being very open and shouting from the rooftops about the object of your affection, and shouting from the rooftops about how much you love the person that you are with. And you can be very expressive and very creative and very romantic in the way you show your love. I mean, I'm trying to think of some romantic gestures, but my Venus in Pisces is like so passive right now. I'm like, I don't know. But Venus in Leo is associated with grand romantic gestures, and you usually tend to go for people who you can somehow, to an extent, show off. Because, hey, after all, we're talking about Leo, right? Chiron aspecting Venus, people. Okay, Burku, so I've actually talked a little bit about this. If you have Chiron aspecting Venus in your chart, you might come with the paradigm from a previous lifetime that love hurts, and you therefore expect rejection and abandonment in relationships. And you might hurt others before you are hurt, but the answer here is to find someone who loves you no matter what, and who gets over the initial pain that you might inflict on them. Now, if you've got, oh my god, Nurse Tara, thank you for the super chat, and Stanley, thank you for the super chat as well. So let's take Tara. Now, Venus conjunct Sun, 0 Aquarius, 6th house. You are a Leo rising. Okay, so if Venus is conjunct your Sun, it means that your sense of identity is very much linked with the relationships that you are in. I also want to say that Venus conjunct Sun people tend to have a really good sense of self-esteem and confidence, and they feel good about themselves. They feel good about who they are. If it's in the 6th house, Tara, you feel really good about the work that you do, and you feel very proud about the work that you do. And you have a very kind of objective approach to the work that you do, and you know you are having a positive impact upon society and humanity, because we're talking about Aquarius here after all. Now, Stanley has Venus in the 12th house in Taurus. So Venus in the 12th house gives you a love of all things spiritual and all things occult. So you are in the right place, my dear Stanley. Venus in the 12th house people might also have this tendency to hide their feelings and to keep them in the shadows, and it can be quite hard for the other person to realize that you have feelings for them and that you love them. Venus in the 12th house can also be associated with relationships that happen somehow in the shadows, that are hidden from the eyes of people. And in Taurus, a deep love of all things sensual. Venus in Taurus is at home. It feels great. It's gonna give you a fabulous sex life. Just saying. Cyborg Genus, thank you for the super chat. Oh my days. My Venus and Mars was super accurate. Wanted more. Okay, so Venus, Jupiter, Mars, and Pluto all in the 10th house in Scorpio, aspected by 1st house Saturn retrograde, opposed by exalted moon in the 4th house in Taurus. Oh my days, Cyborg Genus, you are up for really big stuff in your career in this lifetime, and it looks like you are incredibly driven to achieve career-wise, and you've got everything working in your favor. So you've got the two great benefics in your house of career. You've got Jupiter and you've got Venus. This is a lifetime of abundance, and you can absolutely create abundance. And I want to say this, you're probably also going to find, I don't know if you're single or coupled up, but it looks somehow that your relationship is going to be lived in the public eye, or you might find your partner in this lifetime, or your choice of partners in this lifetime, through the work that you do. Opposed by the exalted moon in the 4th house in Taurus. This is interesting. So as much as you are driven by achieving in your career and by doing all these very visible things for people to applaud you for, at the same time you need your quiet time, and you need to have comfort, and you need to have security at home, and you like the simple life and the simple things at home in private. Very interesting. Oh my days. Venus in Taurus, Miss T. Venus in Taurus in the 4th house. Okay, so Venus in Taurus usually likes relationships to be very steady, and Venus in Taurus feels very much at home. Venus is actually in its domicile in Taurus, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. If it's in the 4th house, you probably are going to get a great sense of joy and fulfillment by spending time with your family, by spending time at home, and by building this safe heaven that you can retreat to. And you probably enjoy spending your time in private and in the home space more than anywhere else. What about Venus intercepted? I actually don't really look at interceptions. I've got to say, I don't pay them that much attention. So I would look at the aspects more than anything. Edward, thank you for the super chat. Sun conjunct Venus in Leo. Venus is in Cancer. Okay, so you've got an out of sign conjunction. I love this. So Venus is in Leo. First and foremost, you need a partner who you can be proud of, and you need a partner who you can show off, and you also need a partner who is willing to show you off. And love and partnerships and relationships are something that you are very proud of. Your sense of identity is very much linked with the partnerships that you enter in this lifetime. So choose wisely. You are very loyal and very committed and dedicated to your partnerships. So your partner, Edward, is incredibly lucky, I have to say. Madeline, thank you for the super chat. Venus in Taurus in the 5th house. Oh my days. So if you have children in this lifetime, Madeline, you are going to be overjoyed by everything that they do, and they're going to bring a lot of happiness into your life. I also want to say Venus in Taurus in the 5th is probably one of the best placements for classical type of romance. So romance that sweeps you off your feet, and a romance that is very harmonious. It's something that you can retreat to. It's something where you can go to like find peace in your life. Venus and Taurus in the 5th house, you are like very talented in some sort of like environment that requires you to use your aesthetic sense, and Venus and Taurus people are generally artists, I have to say. So please use that talent, please use that aesthetic sense in a very creative way, in an artistic way for the world to see. It's a fabulous place in Madeline to have Venus in the 5th house, because if there's one thing that you're going to get a lot of in this lifetime, it is love. If your Venus is square the ascendant, okay, so if you've got this in your chart, I want to say that you might feel like your sense of identity is somehow challenged by the relationships that you enter, or you might feel like you enter a relationship and the other person is saying, you know what, you are not what I was expecting. So there's like a challenge to integrate what people see and what you actually give them when they get to know you better. Ruth, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Venus in Capricorn in the 4th house. Okay, so Venus in Capricorn doesn't really feel great, as I've said. You might carry the message from a previous lifetime that you don't deserve to be loved, or that you feel unworthy of being loved. And relationships, especially in a past life, might have been based on an exchange, such as you take care of me, I don't know, you give me money and I give you what is deemed like love or affection. In a previous life, you may have acted poorly in love, you may have wronged people that you were in a relationship with, and in this lifetime you might think that you deserve to be punished in love. You don't deserve to be punished, by the way. Thank you for the super chat, Glitter Kitten. Venus in Capricorn in the 6th house. No, Venus in Capricorn in the 2nd house. Okay, so if you've got Venus in Capricorn, I want to say that you may have made a vow of chastity in a previous life, and in this lifetime you have to rescind the vow in order to be happy in your relationships. Or you might have made a promise to be faithful forever to a person in a previous life, so I recommend that you cut the cord in this lifetime. You're gonna heal this aspect of having Venus in Capricorn by loving yourself, and it's possible that the love you receive in this lifetime is very much linked with your self-worth and your sense of self-confidence, I have to say. Yvette, thank you for the super chat. Venus in Aquarius, sextile Jupiter, square moon in Taurus. Okay, Venus in Aquarius, sextile Jupiter is going to receive a lot of love in this lifetime. So you're going to receive love in abundance first and foremost. And you're probably going to receive the type of love that you enjoy receiving. A love that is based on an intellectual, mental connection. A love that is based on friendship first and foremost. The freedom that you need from the people that you are in a relationship with, or the freedom that is required of you from the people that you are in a relationship with, is a little bit at odds with the need for stability that your moon in Taurus needs. Because your lovers and your partners, Yvette, they might be quite unconventional. They might be quite edgy. They might be here one day and there the other day. And on the one hand, it makes life exciting. But on the other hand, you're like, I really want this to like calm down. And I really want to know you're going to be there for me whenever I need you. Phoebe, thank you so much for the super chat. Georgie, Venus in Aries, in the 10th house, square Mars, Chiron and the Ascendant. Thank you so much for the super chat, Georgie. So Venus in Aries is going to really fight for relationships, I want to tell you. And the way you express your love is very public. It's very much out there in the open for people to see. And you're probably going to have to fight for relationships in this lifetime, I want to say. And relationships can be quite conflictual in their nature, but exciting at the same time. Not to mention, Venus in Aries in the 10th house, Georgie, makes you a fabulous leader. It makes you someone who is going to fight for what they need, and also use diplomacy and not be just like a bull in the china shop. Ruth, thank you so much for the super chat. And Critty, thank you for the super chat. Venus in Aries in the 7th house, trining the North Node. Ruth, this is brilliant. If you've got Venus in the 7th house, it means that your marriage and your long-term committed partnership is going to be based on love, and you're going to receive a lot of love from your partner. And Venus in Aries can take the initiative when it comes to committed partnerships, so that's also brilliant. And if it's trining your North Node, it means that your mission, your destiny in this lifetime is going to be very much molded and helped by the long-term committed partnerships that you enter in, and particularly marriage, I want to say. Oh my gosh, thank you, Nicole. My earrings, I love them too. Now, thank you once again for joining, everyone. I very much appreciate you taking the time, and please continue to send me messages, contact me through my website if you are interested in a natal chart reading, in a love and relationships reading. I'm going to leave a link in the description box. Nora, thank you for the super chat. Venus in Scorpio. So let's not forget, Venus in Scorpio says that there never will be enough love coming from a human. So the soul might bring expectations of pain and trauma in regards to love. You need deeply to emotionally commit to someone. And past life relationships might have been predatory and very demanding. By the way, guys, I'm going off the live on Instagram. I'm going to stay live on YouTube. See you, my Instagram peeps. Okay, so I am still live on YouTube. With Venus in Scorpio, my dear Nora, you might test your sexual powers on others because you know sex is power, and you might not necessarily associate sex with love. And you can use your sexual powers to obtain the things that you want to obtain in this lifetime. But the lesson with this placement is to love others without expectations, and to learn to let them go, and to still give them enough space without sucking them into an emotional black hole. I can see that some people have moved from Instagram to YouTube. Very much appreciate it. Gurveer, thank you for the super chat. What if you and your partner both have Venus in Cancer, positive or negative? I'm glad to hear you enjoy my live streams. So if both you and your partner have Venus in Cancer, I would say that's fantastic, because that's a very, very helpful aspect in a synastry chart. It means that your love language and your expectations in relationships are pretty similar. You both need a very deep emotional connection, a very nurturing emotional connection. You're both very empathetic in relationships. You're both very sensitive to the other person's emotions. So I'd say it's a beautiful aspect to have. Sonia, Venus in Scorpio, bang on. We've got a lot of Venus in Scorpio people here. What is the compatibility between Venus in the second house in Capricorn and Venus in the fourth house in Pisces? Candice, I would recommend that you look at the entire chart, because we have to look at the aspects in a synastry chart. And I actually do offer compatibility readings. So if you're interested, feel free to get in touch through my website, because it's a bit more complex than that. Is Venus in Capricorn and Venus in Cancer compatible? Yes. Usually in a synastry, when we have oppositions in the synastry chart between two partners, this is something that keeps the relationship flowing and going and makes for an exciting relationship. Venus trine Jupiter is amazing, Joanna. Just to put it out there, it's an abundance of love, and it's also an abundance of beauty in your chart. Venus in the first house opposite Uranus. Okay, so your partner's need for freedom, Lysandra, might be a little bit at odds with your need for affection. Thank you, Critty, for the super chat. Venus, Mars, and Saturn in the 8th house. Gemini ascended. Okay, so if you've got you sound to have a stellium in the 8th house, my dear Critty. I don't know what orb and what like difference there is in terms of degrees between these planets, but wherever we have a stellium, so like 3 or more planets, it means that that area of our chart is of great focus for us in our lifetime. So Critty, I want to say that in this lifetime, one of your missions, because we've got Saturn there, and Saturn is the Lord of Karma. Saturn tells us what we need to put a lot of work and effort into. One of your missions in this lifetime is to learn to build trust and deep intimacy with another person. And in the meantime, yes, you might lose a part of yourself, and you might have to like let go of the control over a part of your life. But at the same time, the rewards that this promises are tremendous. You also have like a deep love for the occult. You also have a deep love for all things psychological and like related to like the human psyche and like pain and drama and trauma. And you probably also enjoy like studying about these things. Venus, Mars, and Saturn in the 8th house also make for like quite an exciting sex life, I want to say. So, nice one. Now, my lovelies, I am actually tuning out. Thank you once again for sticking around. If you're interested in a natal chart reading or a compatibility reading or a reading that is focused solely on love and relationships in your natal chart and in this lifetime, please feel free to get in touch through my website. I've left a link in the description box. And thank you for tuning in. Once again, I shall see you next week. Follow me on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, because I'm everywhere. Watch this face. Bye, guys.